So we are at another edition of You Get It. And again, full disclosure, this was recorded earlier in the day because Keyur, my guest, is India time zone. We didn't want to wake him up at 5:30 a.m. his time, right? So we recorded this earlier in the day. Welcome to the show, Keyur.
Thanks, Ashwin, for having me.
And just as a reminder, You Get It, for the folks who are listening or viewing this for the first time, is unabashedly giving all the time. So that was the genesis behind this LinkedIn Live that I started about 6 weeks ago. So I'm going to start off, Kayur, before you intro yourself, I'm going to start off with a post that you wrote, and then I'm going to hand it over to you. And this is really what You Get It means. And I think this was about a month ago. I was doing some research yesterday. If you want to grow fast, talk to as many people as you can. Here's how I do it. Respond to everyone who comments on my posts. If they're kind enough to drop a comment, be kind enough to acknowledge it. Wow. Number 2, respond to my emails and DMs. Thank them for their appreciation. Number 3, reach out to creators who put out great content. The big creator will probably most likely reply to your message. Offer to help. Don't be afraid to let out your secrets. I love that. Number 5, don't try to sell. Build genuine relationships and money will eventually come. The more people you know, the faster you grow. What is your networking secret? So I'm going to pause over there because this is really what You Guided is about, right? Give first. So please intro yourself and talk about your journey.
Yep. So my name is Keyur and I started writing on this networking site called Quora. The question answer site.
Yep.
So I went to the site in 2015 and I was reading. I kept on reading. I had this weird addiction. I had this weird Quora addiction where I kept on scrolling the feed, and I kept on reading. Most of the answers were senseless. It was gossip. What happened in your life? Okay, what's the best moment? So they didn't have any actual value in it. Any actual learnings in it. Yeah, some of them were good and all. And then finally, after 6 months or so, I started, I decided. So firstly, I used to think that why are these guys posting? Why are these guys posting when they're not getting money for it? Who would have the time to frame an answer? But then I eventually started writing myself. I started with the intent of let's start doing it. Let's see how it feels. It happened, for 3 years straight, I kept on writing. Then things happened. In India, we have this thing called joint entrance exam, which is one of the most toughest exams in India, in the world. And over here, the culture is like, if you want to make a career, it's either engineering or you can go into medical, right? But so I was kind of, brainwashed into get into engineering, be a good engineer, on a good package and all that. But I didn't really enjoy preparing for the exams, right? So I kind of dropped a year and all. So I was quite frustrated. Like after 3 years of constant preparing for the exam and not clearing it, I was frustrated. So, but while being on Quora, I started, researching about productivity and all that. So this term productivity was all new to me. I was like 17 years old back then. So yeah, I kind of knew about productivity, but I didn't have anything to do to apply those concepts, right? So I kind of learned the theory, and all of my Quora answers were based on, most of my Quora answers, they were based on how to be productive, right? But I didn't have the chance to be productive because I had nothing to, do. So after 3 years and all that, so I figured I want to do something that is not academics because I was, frustrated. I didn't want to prepare for exams anymore. I didn't want to study for grades anymore, right? So that's how it all began. So I wanted to do something productive. I also didn't want to watch movies and all. I wanted to do something that was useful, but that did not get me grades, right? So then I kind of reflected back 3 years and all, and I saw that, okay, I have a lot of answers on Quora. Let me show these answers to people and see whether they can pay me, right? So I reached out to brands. Okay, I saw a lot of content writer posts and all, and finally through a freelancing website, I got a gig. It paid me quite low, but something is better than nothing again, right? So that's how it all started. And so that's when I realized, okay, I write quite well so that people can pay me. Soon I started finding good clients that paid decent amount and all. So one of my clients, he turned out he was very busy, right? So he wanted to find people like me, right? So that's when he told me that, okay, can you find people like yourself and manage them? So that was a very good opportunity for me. That's when I realized that I'm not only good at writing, but I'm also good at communications, talking to people, and in general, making good relationships.
Mhm.
So that's at some, so 3 years passed by again, and I kind of managed a team of 25 to 30 writers at once. So that was happening and all. So being in the content industry for over 3 years, me and one of my colleagues, we wanted to make things a lot more smoother using softwares and all that. So we came up with a software idea, and we outsourced the development to one of our clients, one of our clients who's also a software development agency, right? So okay, so when we did that, we did the product planning and all that. Once we outsourced the work, there was nothing left to do, right? So we did what we figured was, let's find customers. Then LinkedIn happened. We ran out of content. So, okay, how much to talk about one single product, right?
Yeah.
And then I figured out, okay, what's my expertise? My expertise is that, okay, I had the chance to start really early, and I kind of figured out the right things in life using the productivity techniques and whatever. I know some things that might help college freshers, right? This was in my, okay, so right now I'm in my final year of college, and yep. So I think that, okay, whatever I know that might benefit college freshers. So I started creating content around that. In the first month, I kind of doubled my followers without any real effort. It's just that the content I was putting out was really useful. Then I started studying LinkedIn. Because I doubled my followers, I started studying LinkedIn. So I went from around 400 followers to 800 followers in the first month. In the second month, I went from 800 to 7,000. So this is the combined result of studying LinkedIn and putting out decent enough content that people found valuable. And then so I figured that, okay, let's do this properly and do this for other business owners and all. So I kind of created a complete agency around it, and I now, most of my time I spend optimizing people's profiles, getting them huge growth like I did.
Wow, that's some journey.
So,
wow. So again, unpacking some of things, right? It's like, and this goes back to some of the big things that, and you mentioned engineering and JE in India. One of the societal expectations is all about, hey, are you measuring ROI, right? So every content that you put out there, or every DM that you put out there, are you getting leads and all that? And then there's this whole you-guided mentality, which is give. And this is back to your post over there. Don't expect anything for the things that you're giving, because it will come in forms that you will not even anticipate, right? So again, from your perspective, how did you get over that mental hurdle of, okay, the ROI is we're in a different world right now, where
exactly. Yeah. So right from the start, I was always skeptical about things that people thought were normal. Okay, people used to study so hard for exams just to get that short-term result. Okay, I got 100% marks. Okay, what is that marks getting you? So I think most people are wired to get instant kind of gratification and all.
Yeah.
So you get good marks. Okay, you get good marks. Okay, your first post should get 100 likes. Okay, your first DM, your first job application should get accepted. That won't happen. So this thing, it really works like compounding effect. You put in a lot of effort in the start. For the first few attempts, you won't even notice the difference, but then suddenly you'll start growing. That's what happened to me. And then when I was in my first and second month, no one really asked me what you're doing. In the first month, in fact, no one knew me, and all of my friends were like, why are you spending your time on LinkedIn? Instead, write a blog post, you'll make some money. Right? But now I'm making a lot of money. You get the point, right? So money, and whatever the result will come, and it will come, the result that will come after a really long time. If you wait for it, the result will be much more bigger, and you'll be much more satisfied than you. So basically, avoid any temporary happiness, instant gratification and all that. Be in it for the long run. And if you keep giving, someday, you'll get back. Either that same person will give you back, or the world will find some way to give that back to you, right? So that happens. But
yeah,
you only realize it when you are kind of fed up of expecting things early on, right? So that's why.
No, I think that point that you mentioned is so powerful, which is it's not this synchronicity, which is, hey, I'm helping Keyur, so Keyur is going to help me back. No, somebody else who you didn't even anticipate, right, is going to see that and say, I want to get. So that's amazing. The second aspect of it, and this is something that I really want to touch upon it, because this is, I mean, you're so prolific, is you mentioned this in your post as well, going back, is the aspect of mental health, right? Just, hey, you put out something, there are like 200 comments over there, and replying to every single comment thoughtfully takes a lot of time and effort, right? So as you get it, where you're in this constant giving mode, how do you draw boundaries so that you take care of yourself and your mental health?
Got it. See, how I do it is, it's like the more organized your calendar looks like, or the more organized your schedule looks like, the less decisions you have to make. Don't keep everything. So I heard this quote somewhere. Okay, David Allen from Getting Things Done says this, that your brain is meant for coming up with ideas, not storing them, right? So whatever is it, just make a schedule, have your life organized, use online tools, pen and paper system, whatever. So what I would ideally recommend you do is, whatever system you're giving value on, be it Instagram, LinkedIn, or whatever, even in real life, schedule time for it. For me, if you see, my posts come out at the same time every single day, right? So I have that 1 hour blocked every single day. I don't do anything apart from, being on LinkedIn. And yeah, when it comes to responding to comments, right, as I have grown, there was a point where I used to get 5-10 comments. Now I get 100 to 200 comments, right? So I it sometimes gets hard, but what I do is I try to split it down. So let's say, after this meeting, I'll have something else to do, but there'll be 5-10 minutes gap. I'll check my phone over there. I won't check my phone. There will be people commenting on my post right now, but I won't be doing that right now. Whenever I switch a task, I use that time, 5-10 minute break, to respond to comments. I also get my break, and I am also able to give value. So I kind of utilize those breaks, because most of the things that I do are like between 45 minutes to 1 hour, and also I manage to reply to comments at least 10 times a day. And it's good to read good comments. Yeah, sometimes there are mean comments and all as well. That's a part of the process. But yeah, it's great to
Yeah, I think that's a wonderful tip, right? Just context switching and using that context switching time to be able to go in and respond to people who've said that. Amazing. The other thing, and again, this is something that you do institutionally, right? Which is micro and timely giving, which is going back to you guided again, which is living again, I'm going back to your your weekly pills, right? I don't subscribe to a lot of newsletters, but I subscribe to yours because it is easy to consume, and it's one thing that you talk about quickly, right? Again, for people who are used to webinars and long form writing and all that, it's like when you're giving in this more, understanding the audience is very distracted and they have lots of other things vying for their attention. How have you kind of institutionalized this to make this that micro as well as timely in terms of scheduling?
Got it. Right. So unless it's a long blog post, I don't think, and whatever the medium is, even if it's a YouTube video, don't make it longer than it's necessary. What people usually do is, it's good to think about the algorithm and all, but most importantly, think about the people that are going to consume it. Even if the algorithm likes it, but people don't like it, no one is going to like it, and then algorithm is not going to like it. So it's a loop, right? So don't stretch yourself more than necessary. So even if you notice my LinkedIn post, I get straight to the point. Here's how you can do it. So that's how it's straight to the point, easily actionable advice. Because in this day and age, people don't have time. This is the age of economy and all, attention economy and all. People are craving for attention. There's always something better to gain your readers' attention and all. So come to the point straight away as soon as possible, because if you come to the point straight away, they'll be able to implement that, right? But if you keep beating around the bush, they might not even reach to the solution that you're trying to offer. And then they'll spread bad word about you. Okay, this guy's tips are, they are just time waste and all that. And that kind of, it does no statistics, no data, no software shows that. You cannot data analyze word of mouth, right? But that happens. If you get straight to the point, people will talk good about you. If you don't get, if you beat around the bush, if you try to sell something, if you get the point, right? If you try to do something for your benefit, that will come out someday or the other.
Correct, and that's the opposite of you get it, right? Which is, hey, you're getting to a point of saying, hey, just hey, reach out to me for this, and I think it's okay from a call to action perspective. But to your point, which is, if you've given so much, then people by themselves will want to feel obligated to, hey, what can I do with you, right? Consistency, right? And again, you mentioned this a few times. Again, for somebody who has never been in this mode of consistency, whether it's calendaring, whether it's doing these comments between as you switch tasks, or your weekly pills, what advice do you have for somebody who's getting into this giving more to also build a consistency? I mean, any tips for that?
Got it. Three things. Focus on the long-term vision. Like, it's kind of related. The first and second is related. Focus on the long-term vision. Basically what is going to happen after a long period of time, not what is going to happen tomorrow, because tomorrow nothing's going to happen, right? Secondly, focus on the why. Why are you doing it in the first place? Like, why? Like, you should, even if it's a selfish reason, you should know the why, because if you don't have the why clear in your mind will keep battling. Okay, why are we doing this? Let's stop it from tomorrow, right? Okay. And the third, I forgot the third thing. Okay. Third thing is, schedule stuff in advance, because let's say if I want to send out a Sunday pill tomorrow, latest I'll write it by Saturday. I won't write it on Sunday morning, right? So run at least a few days or weeks in advance. So even if you have because life happens, something emergency, like something urgent will come up and all that, but still your content should keep going out, right? So stay, at least if you're planning to start from tomorrow onwards, don't start tomorrow. Wait for a week, create a week's worth of content, and then start. Right. This is the advantage of starting from zero, right? So always have something to, have something that you can post. I cannot take a break now, because you get the point.
Yeah. No, I think it's also, you're right. I mean, there's unforeseen situations that emerge, but again, consistency matters. So audience doesn't realize that you're having a emergency, or you're having some kind of mental break that you're taking and all that, right? So, and again, so final question, right? For somebody who's never been a giver, right? And I hate to use the word taker, but let's say they've been passive consumers. How do they get over the mental hurdle of, do I have anything worthy of giving, right? That imposter syndrome, call it what you may, right? How, like, tips for people to get past that. Am I worthy? Is the audience going to consume it? What can I share in?
Got it. See, naturally, if you have had a job experience, and if you are kind of a little bit older than 25 and all, you have already had a lot of experience in your life, right? I've heard this question from one of my friends who is 19 years old, and he has just entered college. Yeah, for him it's fine. Okay, he doesn't have anything to talk about except for his school life and all. That's fine. But most people, you have a lot to talk about. You have a domain to talk about, and like nothing else matters. You as yourself are very unique. You have a different mindset. You have a not good or bad, you have a different mindset. You can put your views out there, you can consume, and you can make connections. So start it this way. You start by networking. Don't think about giving firstly. When you build a network of like-minded people, reach out to people who are giving, right? Build connections with them, make friends with them, talk to them. Naturally you'll get ideas on how you can provide value. If everyone around you is providing value, naturally you will want to provide value. That's how I did it, basically. So because just like I got 90% of my confidence from Justin Welch.
And that's amazing. I mean, the community that you and I are part of, right? Audience and income, and it's such an important point, right? To be able to be consciously part of a community of givers, because that halo effect, that whatever you want to call it, that resonance is so strong that you yourself end up becoming one of that, right? So. Great conversation. Again, I know it's late for you, Keyur, and hats off to everything that you're doing and the journey that you're on. Looking forward to keeping in touch and stay safe.
Sure. It was great chatting, man.